Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about why Paolo Banchero should be the number one pick in this year's NBA draft. During the March Madness tournament, he has really impressed and he has shown why he deserves to be the number one pick over Jabari Smith and Chet Holmgren. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down some of the things that he does really well and also some of the things that he could work on. I'll also give my comparison for his game style. Starting off, he has been averaging about 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists per game this year. And he has great size that will really help him in the NBA one day. Although his averages aren't necessarily amazing, he's been doing this on a really good team, and Duke has a lot of NBA prospects on their team and a lot of good players, so he's still able to contribute in a big way. It's really helpful to play with other NBA prospects on your team in college because it shows that you're able to play with other good teammates and that you don't have to have the ball the entire game to contribute. First off, I'm going to be looking at 3 of the strengths that Paolo does really well in his game. He's an elite athlete, especially considering that he plays a power forward position and he's 6'10", 250 pounds. He uses his athleticism in a lot of different ways, especially on fast break dunks and also on lobs up to the basket. He's the perfect player to throw lobs up to during pick and roll action. Since he's usually way faster than opposing centers, he uses this to his advantage and he's able to get to the rim way before them. Obviously, being athletic isn't everything in the NBA, but he's able to pair it with his amazing skill set and also his size, and he's a really good player. Part of what goes with his amazing skill set is his ability to score from all 3 levels. Not only is he an elite athlete that can get to the rim and is a threat for lobs up to the basket, he also has a really good 3-point shot and a very polished mid-range game. His go-to shot is his mid-range pull-up. He's able to get this shot off above smaller defenders and they don't have any chance of blocking him. And as you can see, he raises up high on his shot so he can have a high release point. At times, his mid-range shot reminds me of Kevin Durant in the way that he's able to rise above other defenders and score above them. And in the 15 years that Kevin Durant has been playing in the NBA, this has worked since day one. But it's also beneficial for him to have such a good mid-range game because defenders often sag back and then he's able to take an open 3-point shot. And this year he's been shooting 33% from the 3-point range, which definitely isn't bad for a power forward. Being able to score like this from all 3 levels in the NBA will really give him a good shot of becoming a star, and also it'll almost make him impossible to guard for smaller guys. The last thing that he does really well is his ability to handle the ball. Most prospects that are Paolo's size tend to dribble too high and are often out of control a lot. But he does a really good job of keeping the ball low and he has a spectacular handle. This is really shown when centers are out on him on the 3-point line and he's able to beat them off the dribble and just get right by them. His handle paired with his elite athleticism leads to a lot of easy baskets because he's able to drive right by centers. And as you can see in this clip, he has a lot of moves in his bag and he can be really shifty at times. With all these strengths at his huge size, he really should be considered the number 1 pick because he's such a good player and has such a polished game. Next up, I'm going to be looking at 2 of the weaknesses that Paolo really needs to clean up before he can become a good player. And if he's able to fix these 2 things, he can really become an all-star level player. The first weakness that he has to his game is he's often turnover prone. This season, he's been averaging 2.5 turnovers per game, which wouldn't be bad if he was the main ball handler on his team, but he actually doesn't have the ball too much, and he's averaging a lot of turnovers. And this really isn't that bad of a weakness to have at all. He really just needs to take better care of the ball and be a little bit more careful. The second weakness that Paolo has with his game is his defense. Now don't get me wrong, he's not a bad defender, but he can sometimes have trouble guarding underneath the basket and also guarding faster guards out on the 3-point line. When he gets switched on to bigger centers in the paint, he can often have trouble when they back him down and it can lead to easy buckets. This can be easily fixed though because he has good size. He just needs to get a little bit stronger and he needs to practice guarding bigger guys a little bit more. Like I said before, you can see a weakness in his defense when he gets switched on to faster guards on the 3-point line as well. And to improve this, he's going to need to work on his lateral quickness so he can keep up with them. All in all though, Paolo is a really skilled player and his weaknesses are really not that bad. And both of these weaknesses are really easily fixable for an NBA staff to work with. With all of that being said, my comparison for Paolo's game is a more athletic version of Julius Randle and Tobias Harris. He reminds me a lot of Randle from the way that he's able to dribble to his spots and get to the rim, and he also has a really good mid-range game. They play very similar to each other besides the fact that Paolo's more athletic than him. but in terms of skill set, they play very similar and do a lot of the same moves. Now, Tobias Harris is a bit of a different comparison, but watching them, they play very similar to each other, with both of them being bigger guards that have a good handle and can score on all three levels. But once again, the difference between them would have to be that Paolo is much more athletic. And with him being more athletic, I think that's the type of thing that can boost him to being an all-star in just a couple years in the NBA. Well, thanks so much for watching this video, and please make sure to leave a comment about what you think about Paolo's game. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe and also like this video. It helps me out a lot.